Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast, episode 57, Get in Touch with the Ground. So today I've got with me Lynn Applegate, my wife, and the reason I've got Lynn is because her and Veronica James were the researchers. They would read everything they could get their hands on, and they'd tell me, Lynn tells me, but Veronica would tell Dr. James, and that's where Dr. James got most of his education. So today I'm visiting with Lynn, and we wanted to share a little bit of what she learned about earthing. And it's been a while, so I'm gonna be refreshing her memory as we go along. But once she starts remembering, it's gonna be awesome. So Lynn came across a book called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson, and we've kind of talked a bit about it before. Do you remember much about it when you read the book?
I loved the book. It was a very informative book on many levels. It covered everything: diet, exercise, sleep. You name it, it covered it. I was very impressed by that book.
Yeah, and I've done a podcast on just the book, just because it was so wonderful. In fact, in the podcast, I talked to Scott said it is the best health book he has ever read is that Sleep Smarter. If you want to fix just about any health problem you have, read that book, and it will put you on the path to fixing just about anything, because it goes more of root cause kind of thing. It's not just fixing one little problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So in the book Sleep Smarter, he talked about several things, and one of the things he mentioned was earthing. And so that got Lynn studying a bit about earthing. And so wanted to talk about some of the benefits of earthing. Do you want to explain what earthing is real quick?
So earthing, I was very intrigued by it when Sean said to get some earthing in. So any of you that don't know what earthing is, there is a connection between the earth and everything around it. It gives off an electromagnetic pulses and stuff. It creates energy. It's just full of energy, and in our bodies, it helps us to it helps our bodies to be able to release energy when you are grounded or earthing. When you touch the earth, there's a transfer of energy that happens. It pulls negative energy out of you, and it gets to replace it with positive energy. So it helps your body to kind of regenerate and recuperate, and it's not like you're stealing anything from the earth, and that you're not giving back. It's a synergistic thing that it works, and there are so many studies on it that help that prove that it helps people. Besides all the people that swear by it, I could swear by it. I love earthing. So just the short, simple answer is get in touch with the dirt, or the grass, or just something that is of the earth, because it really helps. I had often, when I learned about earthing, I had often wondered why certain people seemed healthier, lived longer, and all sorts of things. And I had noticed a similarity with the ones that did lots of yard work or gardening or grew flowers or something like that. They just seemed to have a different energy or light about them or something. So when I learned about earthing, it was like, oh, now I see, because I watched so many people, like some elderly people. I had some great-great-grandparents, or was it great-grandparents? I don't know. They were really old. But their entire lives had been gardening, and huge gardens and all sorts of stuff. Well, as they got older, they stopped doing that. They moved into a house with cement, with all sorts of stuff, and stopped getting in touch with the earth. And you could see a shift in their bodies almost immediately. And so now that I know about earthing, I really, with anybody, my kids have gotten to where they just love to walk around barefoot outside as much as possible. And when I'm stressed, I'm like, give me some grass, and I go outside and take my shoes off and sit in the grass. So
that's the amazing thing about earthing, is it doesn't require a whole lot to do it. You just barefoot on the grass.
Yeah. You don't have to buy any special equipment. You don't have to do anything. There is equipment out there that makes it so you can bring earthing into your home, but as a general rule, you can just go outside. Now, if you know they have just sprayed the grass with chemicals, it'd probably be a good idea to go to somebody else's grass, but it's just absolutely amazing.
So we talked to, so now that you've got like the background, the basics of earthing and how to do it and why you'd want to do it, I wanted to talk a bit about some of the benefits of earthing. So sleep, how does it affect sleep? Do you remember?
It really affects sleep because there's all sorts of things. So if you decide to go out and be in the grass during the day and stuff, getting the negative energy out of your body makes it so that your sleep cycle later in the day can be more cleansing and more, you might be able to get to sleep faster. You don't have so much going on inside your body because your body isn't battling the negative energy and the it's kind of acidic energy, if you want to think about it that way. You clear it out of your body. But I know that I got earthing mats or earthing sheets so that while I slept, my body could be doing that same thing with energy. Now that the earthing sheets and earthing mats, and the ground does the same thing, it helps to combat EM fields. So, the radio waves and everything all around us all the time, most people don't even realize it's going on or that it's affecting their bodies. But especially if you live in a city and everything, those fields are there all the time. And if you're sleeping on an earthing sheet or grounded somehow, seriously, go sleep in a tent. Well, not in a tent, on the ground, then your body gets to it helps to get everything back into the order that it should be in. Anybody who's done studies, who's studied into EM fields and how it messes up molecular structure and all sorts of stuff, earthing can actually help to heal that molecular structure. And it's almost like sleeping with a force field around you when you sleep with an earthing sheet.
Awesome. So another thing, we're up in Oregon right now, and Lynn noticed that her ankle's hurting, and that it's been bothering her, and so today she was like, "Oh, I need a earthing mat and you stood on it for maybe half an hour."
I've stood on it off and on all day, and it's made a difference. I had noticed years ago when I first started on earthing mats. For some reason, my wrist would hurt when I did a lot of computer work or anything. So, and I tried things, a chiropractor can only do so much and whatever, and it just keeps coming back. That gets very, very expensive. And after I had read the stuff about earthing, I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to try my earthing mat. So I have a mat that's 6 inches by probably 2.5 feet long. So I stuck it near my keyboard so I could rest my wrists on it while I did my typing and everything. And my wrist problems stopped. So it helped. I can't remember right now exactly why that helps. It helps to clear meridians and all sorts of stuff. So that I just know that it absolutely worked. And I have not had those wrist problems since, because if I know I'm doing a lot of computer work, I get out my earthing mat and I make sure I do that. And the same thing for my ankle. It immediately started to help it to feel better. But it's fun, him mentioning that we're up in Oregon, because I've noticed a big difference in how my family feels, because we're not going and swimming in man-made pools right now. We keep going to the ocean and going to lakes and going to rivers. And so I am more connected to the earth right now than I think I've ever been in my life. Because when we lived in New Mexico, that's the desert. And sandy, dry dirt does not give you the same connection as damp grass or damp. Damp helps to make the connection better.
Conductivity of it. It makes it more conductive.
Mm-hmm. Makes it more conductive.
In fact, when we were reading about it, there's some people do earthing with their plants, and they'll run a wire outside to a pole to a metal rod that they stick in the ground, and they said to put it on the north side of your house where the ground is always mostly moist, so that you get that conductivity of it. Yeah. But I was going to say with your ankle, it quit popping
Yep.
It isn't popping this afternoon, and every time you'd walk before you were doing the earthing, it would pop. So it's cool how something that simple can help with aches and pains and things.
Yep, I love it.
So you also mentioned when we were talking about this before how it helps with your attitude.
Oh, it definitely helps with attitude. It's like a magic pill to be able to get outside. I don't think people have to walk their dogs just so that their dog can get exercise. I think they just need to get out and touch some ground or something. There's, for my kids, my animals, for myself, I loved it in a video. I don't know if Jim, are you going to be linking to that video that's online? There's like a documentary that they do. It was really interesting because the man had all sorts of aches and pains when he kind of helped to develop the earthing or study into it and all sorts of stuff. And he was so achy, he decided to go lay in the dirt in Alaska. And the only place he could find dirt was under his house. So because everything else was snow. So he climbed under his house as naked as he could be in a video and laid under there, and it actually started fixing things he'd been seeing doctors for years for, just by getting in touch with the earth. But they decided when he was testing some of the equipment they were trying to do, because in Alaska you can't always lay under the house, so they were developing some stuff to bring it into the house. They put one of their mats in a horse trailer, and they had rescued a baby deer that had somehow lost its mother or whatever. They had rescued the deer, and they put it in the horse trailer, and there's lots of straw and everything, and they decided, let's try an earthing mat in there just to see what this deer decides to do with it. And no matter where they put it, they would switch it while the deer was not around or anything. That deer would find it in there and lay on it. And lay on it all the time. They really thought that animal knew that it needed that energy, that it needed to do what that earthing mat provided. And it just, for attitude, you can't see a deer really throwing a fit or whatever, but I don't know about you. When my energy gets low, I am not a happy person. When my body gets too heavy with emotional toxins or food toxins or whatever it is, I get a little bit cranky. And it's amazing how, most of you can probably relate to, you go to the beach and spend a few days there, and life just seems better. And the same for mountains, and the same for everybody's going to have their thing they like outside. There's some people that don't like outside, and that's okay. But somehow being out in nature rejuvenates us. And I loved that earthing and researching it and reading about it let me know that in the world we live in, with all of our technological advances, all of our amazing roofs, floors, walls, air conditioning, and everything, has separated us more and more from the energy that earth can give. So it absolutely affects my attitude and my kids' attitude. You just know when we're locked up too much and when we just haven't had enough air, sunshine, and dirt, that it's just time to go, let's go make mud pies or something so that we can be healthier. I think that's part of why children are so healthy, or why nowadays we're ending up with a lot more health problems in children, actually, also, because the video games and all that other technology stuff is not being done outside. Have you tried to look at your screen out in the sunshine? Doesn't work very well. But when I chase my kids outside and we do outside things besides the get up and move so it gets your circulation moving, I really, really believe the air, the ground, the whatever we can do, go wrestle in the dirt. Mud wrestling, you could take up that habit to get your earthing in. That would be fun, right?
But it has to be on the ground, not like in a pool.
Yeah, no mud wrestling in a pool. Has to be attached to the ground. So yeah, yep.
Awesome. Well, I think those are some wonderful tips, and I love the knowing about it. If you guys have any questions about earthing or any other topics you'd like us to discuss, let us know. And it's been wonderful talking with you, and I really appreciate Lynn talking with us, and we will talk to you guys next time. We want to inform you of our disclaimer. Do not feel that by listening to this podcast that we have dispensed medical advice to you or have given you the ability to treat yourself or others with this information. We do not directly or indirectly dispense medical advice or prescribe the use of herbs as a form of treatment for sickness without medical approval. It's not the intent of this podcast to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information from the herbalist's point of view, only for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But the publisher and authors assume no responsibility.